Now we go to the second poem. 9th standard. Africa. You know what is the meaning of this continent. It's Africa. The poet name is David Job. Right. Africa. A F R I C A. Africa. This poem written by David. The poet name is D-A-V-I-D. David Job. G-I-O-P. David Job, Ajay Job, anything you can say. But now you can pronounce anyway, no problem. I'll read the poem. Please listen carefully. Already I sent the poem to you. You copy the poem in your CW and now you can see line by line. Africa. David Job. Africa, my Africa, Africa of proud warriors in ancestral silence, Africa of whom my grandmother sings on the banks of the distant river. I have never known you, but your blood flows in my veins, your beautiful black blood that irrigates the fields, the blood of your sweat, the sweat of your work. Shall we read it once again, the first stanza? Africa, my Africa, Africa of proud warriors in ancestral surveillance, Africa of whom my grandmother sings, on the bank of the distant rivers. I have never known you, I have never known you, but your blood flows in my veins, your beautiful black blood that irrigates the fields, the blood of your sweat, the sweat of your work. The blood of your sweat, the sweat of your work. The work of your slavery, the slavery of your children. Africa, tell me, Africa, is this back that is bent? This back that breaks under the weight of humiliation. This back trembling with red scars. The back trembling with red scars and saying yes to the white under the midday sun. But a grey voice answer me, but the grey voice answer me. In pure sun, the tree young and strong, the tree young and strong, the tree there, its splendid loneliness amidst white and faded flowers. Its splendid loneliness amidst white and faded flowers. That is Africa, your Africa, that grows again patiently, absently, and its fruit gradually occurs. The bitter taste of liberty. The bitter taste of liberty. I read the poem. What you have to do, go through the poem once again, read slowly and underline the difficult words. Underline the difficult words and find out the meaning in your dictionary. I'll explain even then, but you have to do to practice for the dictionary work. Okay, I'll read about this poem. The poem, the David Job is the author, is there in France. I can read about the, always you should know about the poet, from where is born and what is he and why is write the poem, everything you should know. David Mansour Job, he born in 1927. Which year he has born? 1927. He died on 1960. When he died, he was born and died 1960. Okay, was a revolutionary African poet, born in born in France. France, language is French. So he born in, where the poet born? Born in France. F-R-A-N-C-E, France. Okay, right. Born in France to parents of West African descent. For whom he had born? West African descent. He lived in France through his childhood and visited Africa only in 1950s. He born in France. He lived in France. He is in childhood and visited Africa only in 1950s. When he visited 1950s. Right. 1950s. His poems highlighted the problems of Africa brought about by colonialism and gave message to Africans to bring about change and freedom. To bring about change and freedom. He was known for his involvement in the Negritude movement in the French, and the movement started by black writers and artists protesting against French colonialism and its efforts on African culture and values. African culture and values. Now also we are telling no Indian, we are Indians, the Indian culture we are saying in the same way. The poet also doing the African culture and values. His view and feelings were published in Presence African, and in his book of poems, Corpse de Pilien, which was published in 1956. He was published the poems. What is the name of the poems of the books? Corpse, C-O-U-P-S, Corpse de Pilien. P-I-L-L-O-N, Pilien, Hector Pilien. Books of poem. Books of poem. The books of poem. Books of poems, Corpse de Pilien, which was published in 1956. Which is when it was published? 1956. Good. Job died at age of 33. When did David die? The age of 33. How he died? In plane crash. He died in the age of 33. Plane crash. Age of 33. He died in a plane crash. Now you can very easily understand the poem, the writing about for Africa, my Africa. Africa, my Africa. Now we read that poem. Now we can go through what is the story about the poem of the Africa, my Africa. Grandmother, who sings that one? Grandmother sings the patriot songs. You know, patriotic means they sing about the nation. Patriotic songs. They are having the faith on the nation. They are dedicated them. They want to die for that to get freedom from other people. So grandmother sings patriotic songs of Africa. She seems to sing the stories of the freedom struggle. Why? How is singing? First is singing for the patriotic songs. What songs the grandmother is singing? Patriotic song. P-A-T-R-I-O-T-I-C. Patriotic song. Who is singing the patriotic song? Grandmother. Who is singing? A grandmother. Who is listening to all the songs? David. Who's singing the patriotic song? Grandmother. But he didn't born in Africa, but he's listening the song. They're listening the patriotic song by his grandmother. Right. Then she seems to sing the stories of the freedom struggle. For what is the patriotic song about? Freedom struggle. For what is freedom struggle of? For what? Which country? Africa. Freedom struggle of Africa. Freedom struggle of Africa. Right. Then he was an African by descent, but it means how much he is the part of his country and how much he loves his country. How much he loves his country, because of whom? The patriotic song sung by his grandmother. They explain the plight of Africans under the colonial rule by Europeans. Whom ruled Africa? Who ruled Africa? Europeans. They explain how the Africans were made to make a fields like a slaves. They are under slaves by Europeans. They are the slaves. Whom ruled this one? Europeans. Europeans. Who ruled Africa? Who ruled Africa? Europeans. Africans are slaves. Africans are slaves. They explain how the Africans were made to make in feel like slaves. The African faced very humiliation and they're tortured badly. They are tortured very badly. Grave voice. Grave means a low voice. Very meek voice. Grave voice here refers to the confident. The grave, you know what's the meaning of grave? Graveyard, Italian, after the death, they put buried our body is called graveyard, right? Grave voice here, suffering. So that's just the grave voice. Here refers to the confident, commitment, freedom struggle of the African people. The tree, young and strong, we are reading in the poem, right? What's the meaning of the young and strong? Represent the young people. The trees compared to the people. The young and strong and young people of Africa who are patiently but absently waiting until they get the liberty they want. After they get the liberty they want, they are very patiently, they are like a slave, not as like a slave, they are slave in Europe, the who rules that Africa, Europeans, right? So their trees refer to the young people. It's very young and strong. African struggles is a lonely battle, but they will achieve the freedom and liberty they want, no matter how bitter the taste. How bitter the taste in getting it. You know what's the meaning of bitter? Yes? Yes, good. Which one is the bitter vegetable? Tell me, any one of you? Bitter gourd. Right? Good. It is among the white and faded. It's among the white and faded flowers by which he means the colonialists who will fade in time while the youthful Africans grow in strength and wait for their moment of freedom. All the youth is waiting for their freedom. Of that moment, everybody is waiting. The David Pipotno, listening the patriotic song from his mother, he wrote that poem. Right. In these lines, the poet says that he doesn't know Africa. That poet doesn't know Africa. That is, he did not live in Africa, but he is an African born to the parents of African origin. Right. He feels proud to be called an African. He feels to be called like an African. Now I understood why I press and say an African. A vowel. Before that one we have to use the word for vowels. An. A-E-I-O-U. Understand? Before that word you have to use the word for vowels and. Right. The extract taken from the poem Africa, composed by David Gibb. In the above line, the poet urges black people to stand up to the pain and humiliation that they are suffering in their own land. Where they are suffering, they are not going outside, they are not living in the other countries, they are not suffering. In their own land, they are suffering very badly. They are like a slave, they are the slave in their own country. Right? The extract taken from the poem Africa, composed by David, in the above lines, poet shows his anger, actuation, when he stresses that is the blood and sweat of his people, which is irrigation the fields of the benefit of other people. What is compared that one? That's the blood and the sweat is there. The other people are enjoying for the blood. In the blood is like, the sweat is like a blood. So the people, the poet compared that one in their field, they shed sweat. The sweat is compared to the blood. The others are enjoying. In the above lines, the poet reminds the Africans of the strength and pride they have in them and to say no to the wipe of the colonialists which make them work under hot midday sun and leave scars on their backs. When they are working on the fields, the sun is very hot. This is scars. That's the scars on their back when they are working in the fields. The scars means what you can say. Suppose when you get hurt, when it healed also we can see the mark. That is for the scars on their back. Yeah, the history of African taught the songs of his grandmother. She used to sing songs about the stories of the great warriors of Africa. She is singing the song for the great warriors of the Africa. That is this is the poet is how they struggle to get freedom in Africa when they are ruled by Europeans. The grandmother is singing the song for the patriotic song because of his grandson listening the grandmother's song, and he say that when I am an African. I am an African. So he is very proud to say that one is African. We know how the people, ancestors are struggling in the fields, and even though they are living in France, he is described that how their people are struggling in their own country. That is the poem about Africa. David Sujok. He died in the age of 33 in the plane crash, and then he is describing about his feeling, how they are struggle and get that freedom in their Africa. Now we can next class we go for the meanings and the question answers in this one. Okay. So without wasting the time, copy the poem and read the poem once again and recollect that all those things, and further we can go for the next class. Okay, thank you. God bless you all.